Hello, my friends. I am here with a very special guest today. My friend and colleague Rachel O'Meara is here. She helps professional women get out of overwhelm with a proven set of stress reduction tools to reclaim their lives so they can feel more energized, empowered, and resilient. I'm so happy to have you here with us today, Rachel. Welcome.
Hi, Risa. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm very excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And I was telling everybody, Rachel used to work at Google. She was there for 13 years. And so she knows what it takes to be a successful leader and how to help professional women get out of overwhelm. She has a book that she's written called Pause, which is a top business book for your career, was featured in the New York Times. She was on the TEDx stage. And I'm really excited to have her here to share some good tips with us today, as well as she has a very special free 5-day training coming up the week of June 14th that she's going to tell us about too, called the Overwhelm Fix. Now, I know none of you are probably feeling any kind of stress or overwhelm. So yeah, we're probably good. But Rachel, tell us a little bit just about you and how
Yeah,
you came to figure out this method that you use, the pause method.
yeah. Thank you. Right. So that's the thing, right? So it's like here we are. It's 2021. We've just gone through a year of unprecedented change and stressors. We've got our own additional personal world of stress, whether that's our relationships or family or work. Like there's just a laundry list of things. And my sense is we all need some support in helping ourselves feel more resilient, energized, and calm so that we can flourish and like bring our best selves to our partners, to the world, and like really honor where we're at with that. And so I put this training together called the Overwhelm Fix for 2021 because I figured there's got to be some ways that we can all do that together, like collectively helping each other and support, but also using the tools that I've learned because I burned out myself. I burned out while I was at Google about 10 years ago, actually. And I learned a few things afterwards as I was studying emotional and social intelligence at the Wright Foundation, which is based in Chicago, and where I got my master's in transformational leadership and coaching and studied much about myself. So that's a little bit about me and like pausing. I wrote this book. I just happen to have a copy here because I was talking today to a reporter, which is really cool. That's not that common. And she's doing a report for Kiplinger's on sabbaticals and retiring. And so pausing, a lot of times you just think like, that's like chilling out or, taking a break. And it can be that, but I define a pause as an intentional shift in behavior. So to me, getting out of overwhelm requires intentional shifts in behavior. And like it requires our mindset to change a little bit, just like you with all the relationship work that you do, Risa, and everyone here that is aware of like, how can I think about myself differently? How can I approach something with a different perspective? And to me, that's what a pause can do. A pause can allow ourselves that space to shift and to align with what is working in our lives. And so that's a little bit about the pause. And the Overwhelm Fix is using those tools. It's like a pause, these 5 days we're going to have starting June 14th together. And I'm excited because it's going to be all women, she, her pronouns, those who identify with it. And we're going to have fun. We're going to really dive in and, no matter what's going on in your life, like, the stressors particular for you, I would say for all of us, that these principles and these tools will work. Like these are applied and proven success tools out of research and countless times. And they're really kind of pragmatic. They're skills we can all learn. Like, well, I guess I'll get into one hack, which is really like naming a feeling in the moment for ourselves. And I mentioned I do a lot of emotional work and emotional intelligence work, which is really just understanding and being self-aware. And then I can do other things like be in relationship with others.
Wonderful, Rachel. I know we just finished a 5-day training last week, and that was one of the days that I
Nice.
do a lot of that work too, of just how to process your feelings. And because I think that's, that's part of the problem, is that we just don't have the tools we need to really, process our emotions. And so, that natural tendency is like we distract, we eat, we do,
Yeah.
whatever. And we just, we're just up in our heads. We just get busy. We just are always in action. And so I see like the power of that pause. And I love that, just making an intentional shift in behavior and having some tools to really be able to calm your mind and get present in your body and process your feelings. Any other things you want to share about that?
Yeah, yeah. Like well, one thing I want to share is regarding our own well, I guess regarding our own situations and like whatever's going on with each of us. And I mentioned that I burned out at Google, and I also want to share that I've burned out of many relationships, and like I'm married. I got married about 4 years ago at 40. I'm like, how old was I? I think I was 44. Yeah, I'll be 49 this year. So 44. And like I had many relationships that were very, very, like I want to say like taxing, overwhelming. And like I didn't have these tools. So I really, really relate to everyone, every woman here, because I feel like to me, they're like things I've had to learn, and every relationship teaches us something. Right. And so it's like when you learn those skills, then you can apply it forward in your future realm, whatever that is. It might be a relationship, it could be at work, it could be anywhere. But the bottom line is, I feel like all of us have our own flavor of that. And over these 5 days, kind of like shifting to that training, the Overwhelm Fix for 2021, which is like, I'm excited because it's like we've got so much to dive into there. We're going to go through each day a different hack that then you can take into an assignment for that day. So for example, like the first, like one of my favorite places to start is, I mentioned naming a feeling. And so your job would be to like name a feeling maybe 3 times that night or something, like job meaning, your assignment. And then notice stuff, and we're going to have contests and prizes and things like that. But like even as simple as it sounds, and I have a little more info around that, but it can be really profound, and it can actually like really shift the trajectory of how we feel, so that when we acknowledge how we feel, we can change and be more aligned wherever we're at. And that can feel a little less stressful. And then like there's pain that goes with that too. And it's like, okay to be in our pain. And it took me years to learn that, but I think it's a process of understanding like that is how we can move forward into ways that really help us thrive. So we can have the relationships of our dreams and be with our friends and family and loved ones in ways that we never really had experienced before. And so that's what we're going to learn. And I'm just super excited to dive into that, because it's all, like I said, it's all learnable. And it's just about, like being willing to show up and saying like, yeah, like everyone here is willing to show up because you want to have relationships that matter, that feel really good, and that you're thriving in. Right. So like my thought and sense is, why not do that in any area of your life, but learn those skills, because once you learn them in one area, you can apply them everywhere.
Right. So important, Rachel. It's really starts there. It's like we gotta just start to acknowledge how we feel, because I know that, and we talked about that in the training we did too, but it's just like that natural, it's the natural to distract. Like that's our protection. We don't want to feel stuff that doesn't feel good, but it doesn't serve us, because it just creates more internal stress when we're not acknowledging to ourselves. And so, so just starting to acknowledge how we feel. But I know it's not easy, because the feelings are not easy to sit with, those difficult emotions. And so then, then it becomes having more tools to, then do you share like other tools then to how to process those?
Yeah. I mean, one of the, one exciting area that I love to talk about is like the law of little things. Do you know what the law of little things is by any chance, Risa?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's not like it's crazy talk, but essentially it's this whole concept that the little incremental shifts that we can make over time are actually the ways we make the biggest changes. So a lot of times we go and think like, oh, I got to do this different. And like, I got to go like get like a humongous change and a leap forward to make something change and be different in my life. Well, the reality is that's not how most change happens. It's actually by these little incremental moment by moment shifts, whether it's our behavior, our thoughts, or our actions that can shift. And so I'm a big believer in applying that in our lives. And part of the training is really orienting around these law of little things. So you don't bite off like a whole bunch of things. You take one little thing, like name a feeling, and you practice that. And then you build the neural circuitry to think and feel different. And so the law of little things, I love that as a metaphor because, you know, it's like baby steps is the other way to think about that too. And that to me is like a big game changer, because a lot of times we don't change because it's too much. We're like, oh, forget it. Like it's too hard, or I'm not going to bother and I don't feel up for it. And the reality is you don't have to do it all at once. Like what's the next little thing you can apply so that you can orient and move towards what you want? So it might just be like saying no. Maybe that's something you do. And so that's kind of what we learn. And we have a whole day on boundaries that we're going to be talking about that kind of thing.
Wonderful. I love that, Rachel. The law of little things. I know I've heard it as like baby steps. And, you know, it's so interesting because I know I fall into that trap a lot. It's like, you know, I don't know if it's like the perfectionist in me or, you know, it's like, I think, all right, I have to make a change. It has to be like this big shift, but I know it doesn't really work that way. And it makes it feel so much more doable when you can just think about, all right, I just have to like name a feeling today, or, you know, like what's one small baby step? What's one small shift I can make? And it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right. Yeah. I love the metaphor with the elephant too. Yeah. And like, that's totally more doable, right? Like well, maybe you can kind of see the possibility in the realm of that. And so the idea is to be really easy and kind to ourselves too while we do it. I know we're our own worst enemies sometimes. And that's a lot of what overwhelm is putting unmet and unneeded pressure on ourselves, whether it's our relationship or anywhere else. And we're the ones doing that. Like we're the ones who put our pressure on ourselves. So the idea is like, what if you could take the pressure off of that and just focus on the change, like just focus on what's the one thing I can do differently today.
That's so good. I know I do catch myself doing that a lot when I'm feeling pressured and overwhelmed. It's like, all right, well, who's doing
I'm doing
that?
that.
It's like,
Oh, it's me. Yeah.
I could take that pressure, that, you know, it's like that expectation, you know, like these two, I notice I have like very high expectations of myself. And so just to notice and, all right, well, maybe I don't have to like, you know, do all those 10 things today. Maybe I can pick one thing and just do that. And, you know, the small things. And yeah, so that's great. That sounds really, really helpful. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the training, how people can join you for that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we can put a link in the comments as well. So, you know, the idea is this is a live training that I'll be in, and you can sign up at bit.ly/pause fix, one word. So it's
We'll put it in the comments.
.ly/pause fix. And then that's where you can sign up for the training. You can get your spot. You do need to sign up because you'll get data and info on where we'll be, and you don't want to miss it. There will be recordings because we're going to be live basically an hour a day. But if you can't make it one day, no worries. You can watch the recording. It's all good. And like I said, we're going to be learning these life-changing skills that you're going to have a safe environment to practice in or ask questions and just learn and be a sponge. And the idea is not to think it's like, oh my God, I got to do another thing. That's not the idea, because we could easily think that, right? Like, oh, I'm all overwhelmed about the Overwhelm Fix. And I laugh because like, yeah, that's what I would do. But the reality is like, what if this was the opportunity and a gift you could give yourself to just learn a couple new things, new hacks that would really help you feel more supported, feel more calm, and feel more energized and secure in your relationship. And that's what I think this will help with. Yeah.
Sounds wonderful, Rachel. Thank you so much. Is there any other last little tidbits or tips you want to share with people before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think just overall, if you're thinking about like, how can I change things up in this year? We're halfway through 2021. We've had so much tremendous change in the last 18 months with our health crisis and social justice movements and everything. I think all of us have felt that stress, like just stress from that too, and in addition to our regular everyday stressors, right? So the idea is why not give yourself a little support and learn a thing or two? And the idea is, yeah, like we can come out more motivated, we can come out stronger emotionally and mentally, we can feel more productive and resilient, like we can be in charge of our own lives, and we are. And so that's my vision for everyone who attends this training, that they can feel supported and go forth to be who you want to become.
I love it, Rachel. It's such wonderful work. Y'all take advantage of this opportunity to work with Rachel. She's an expert in this field. She's doing this free 5-day training, the Overwhelm Fix, starting Monday, June 14th. I'll pop the link in the comments. And thank you so much, Rachel, for being here and for all the beautiful work you're doing to support people in the world, because we all need that so desperately, just tools to stay calm and centered and get through our life with as much ease and grace as possible. So I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I appreciate your being here to share with us. So I hope everyone will take advantage of that.
Being a supporter too, Risa. I really appreciate you too.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.